IBMC is organized by the Center for Transnational Commercial Law at the National Law University, Delhi, supported by the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India and the UN Citra Regional Center for Asia and Pacific in collaboration with Insol India and Society of Insolvency Practitioners of India. The theme of 2021 edition was corporate insolvency resolution, including issues on individual guarantors and cross-border insolvency. The moot proposition was drafted by Mr. Hemant Kothari, Advocate, Rajasthan High Court, and visiting faculty, National Law University, Delhi. This edition saw participation of more than 50 teams, out of which 16 teams were shortlisted based on the quality of submissions. These 16 teams were made to argue on merits to industry experts acting as judges. Opportunities like this virtual moot competition reignite passion and drive among all, not only those participating, but also those witnessing the competition. And what an exhilarating experience these 3 days have been. Full of energy, engrossing arguments, and overall an intense and enriching mooting exercise. We have witnessed amazing competitive spirit by all the participants that have joined us. Today, on this auspicious occasion, we are honored by the august presence of our esteemed dignitaries. We have with us Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge of the Supreme Court of India. He's the former Chief Justice of Madras High Court and Punjab and Haryana High Court, as well as a former Judge of Delhi High Court. He also has served as Acting Chief Justice of Delhi High Court and has been an advocate on record of the Supreme Court of India and was designated as a senior advocate. We thank you for gracing the occasion with your presence, sir. We also extend our heartfelt appreciation for the constant support extended by Dr. M.S. Sahu, Chairperson of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is an acclaimed thought leader in the area of securities markets and a distinguished public servant, and has served as a member of the Competition Commission of India, Secretary of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, member of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and economic advisor with the National Stock Exchange of India. He has held senior positions in the Government of India as a member of the Indian Economic Service and also had a brief but eventful legal practice. He was also on the bench for the final round earlier today as well. We are delighted to have you with us, sir. We are also delighted to welcome Mr. Amarjit S. Chandiok, Senior Advocate and Chairman of Insol India. He was the President of Delhi High Court Bar Association for 6 terms, which is a record, and he's a former Additional Solicitor General of India. He was also the Principal Counsel to the European Union Commission, being the only Indian lawyer to have held that position so far. Vice Chairman of Society of Insolvency Practitioners of India and member of Advisory Committee of the IBBI, Mr. Chandiok has been contributing to the practice and development of various fields of law. Further, we also have our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Deva Rao, joining us today. Professor Rao has recently joined as Vice Chancellor of National Law University, Delhi in September 2020. He is the former Vice Chancellor of National Law University, Odisha. He has been a Fulbright Scholar in the year 2018 and has had the distinction of working with 5 prestigious law universities in India for the past 3 decades. Professor Rao has been contributing to the development of teaching, research, and institution building, and has made significant contribution to the growth and progress of NLU Delhi in its initial days, and especially in the area of legal aid and clinical legal education. Also with us, we have Professor Dr. G.S. Bajpai, Registrar of National Law University, Delhi. He serves as Professor of Criminology and Criminal Justice, Chairperson at KL Arora Chair in Criminal Law, and as a Chairperson at the Center for Criminology and Victimology, and President of the Indian Society of Victimology. He holds a post-doctoral thesis titled Situational Crime Prevention and Crime Reduction in the UK, which he earned while as a Commonwealth Fellow at the Department of Criminology, Leicester University, UK. Finally, we have the Competition Director and Faculty in charge for this event, Dr. Risham Garg. He's an Associate Professor of Law and Director of Center for Transnational Commercial Law at National Law University, Delhi. He currently teaches various courses like transnational commercial laws, insolvency and restructuring, law of contracts, sale of goods, and private international law in the postgraduate and undergraduate law degree programs. He has also acted as a consultant to the Directorate of Legal Education of the Bar Council of India and acts as an arbitrator at the William C. Wyss International Commercial Arbitration Moot on the international sale of goods at Vienna and at Hong Kong, and has been a visiting research scholar at UN CITRAL Vienna in 2007. We welcome you all to this event. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Risham Garg to deliver the introductory note for the 4th edition of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Competition.
Thank you, Nimra, for that very welcome introduction. A very welcome sunny afternoon in Delhi today. I am reminded of another sunny afternoon around 4 years back when the initial talk to conceive the insolvency moot took place between me and Mr. Sumant Batra. I was in Dehradun where a capacity building program on IBC was being conducted for the ICS officials of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. A suggestion was made to conduct simulations to facilitate the capacity building programs on IBC. Around that time, Insol International had also conceptualized an international moot on issues relating to cross-border insolvency. The idea was floated around, and a wonderful partnership amongst the 5 institutions fructified, with the CTCL being vested with the responsibility of organizing the moot. Honorable Justice Kaul, Dr. Sahu, Mr. Chandiok, Professor Rao, Professor Bajpai, faculty colleagues, and my dear young friends. My passion with moots started when I participated in the Wyss International Commercial Law Moot in Vienna and in Hong Kong as a coach and as a judge arbitrator. It was fascinating to watch the intensity in which substantive commercial law issues and cases were being articulated. Moots are now an inherent mode of the teaching-learning process at law schools. This past year, despite the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, the human resolve to rise above all odds and continue with life, work from home, and technology have become the new pedagogy, in addition to learning the principles of law. The virtual moot also introduces the participants to the courtroom processes of the day. This year, the moot problem is based upon contemporary topical issues in the corporate insolvency resolution process. Whether CIRP may be initiated by the corporate debtor on an application filed by the shareholders of the corporate debtor under Section 10 IBC in a derivative capacity minus a shareholder resolution is possible. The moot problem deliberates issues of guarantors, cross-border insolvency, and also group consolidations. This moot is possible because of the passion of several stakeholders. I wish all the best to the participating teams.
Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, it is my pleasure to invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Deva Rao, to deliver the welcome speech.
It's a great privilege and honor to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, Dr. M.S. Sahu, Chairperson Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, Sri A.S. Chandiok, Senior Advocate and Chairman Insol India. I also welcome my colleagues, Professor Bajpai, Dr. Risham Garg, ladies, gentlemen, and my dear students. A very warm good evening to everyone. After 3 very successful editions, we are at the helm of 4th edition of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Competition. Let me say a few words about mooting skills. An eminent law professor, Professor S.P. Sathe, memorably observed that mooting is an anticipative lawyering and a site for learning lawyering skills. Of course, whether at the 5-year integrated legal education or the 3-year law program, the students will learn several theoretical, conceptual lawyering skills inside the classroom, but the moot is a perfect synergy of learning the actual, what Professor Sathe says, anticipative lawyering. Indeed, it helps the students to sharpen reading, writing, thinking skills, and prepares them on how to think like a lawyer and argue like a lawyer. It seems the Bollywood courtroom scenes are sometimes the source of inspiration for students to opt for law course. Similarly, the moot should motivate the law students to join the legal practice and not just mere contentment with the participation in the moot court competition. We have 60 teams which have shown an interest and 16 teams have participated. So therefore, we hope in future more of these 16 teams will come into the legal profession. The experience in mooting will help you all in many ways. Acquisition of new knowledge and skills of writing, research, reflection, and argumentation. The students will also learn teamwork through collaborative research with colleagues, faculty, alumni, judges, lawyers as a part of preparation for the competition. I was told that you had an interesting moot problem surrounding issues of avoidance of preferential and fraudulent transactions in corporate insolvency resolution process. That's a key emerging area. The resolution professionals are obligated to audit the past transactions of the corporate debtor to reserve the frauds, siphoning of money done by the erstwhile promoters. We are all aware the Supreme Court of India in February 2020 in Anuj Jain case has laid down a detailed jurisprudence in identifying and reversing such transactions. Congratulations to the winning teams. Winning or losing does not matter. As the old adage goes, failures are the stepping stone to success. From these experiences, one learns to cultivate greater optimism, curiosity, and courage to learn more. More appreciations to the teams that gave a befitting challenge by participating in the competition. By taking part in this moot, you have not only developed the skills, but also engaged with your peer group. I am sure you made new friends, and this peer learning will be useful to you throughout your life. What matters in life is friends and friendship alone, which keeps all of us to survive in any turbulent times, including the current pandemic. I hope that the participation in the moot was an intellectually challenging and personally transforming experience for all of you. I wish all of you a happy and, the most importantly, healthy New Year 2021. Let us hope 2021 will be a better, normal, and a joyful year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. I now invite Shri A.S. Chandiok, Chairman INSOL India, to deliver the special address on behalf of INSOL India, which has been a pillar of support for the competition throughout the years.
Sir, you are on mute, sir.
Thank you, Rashid. My Lord Justice Kaul. In fact, just before we began this function, I told everybody that Lordship was the president of INSOL India and has led us from the front. Dr. Sahu, chairman of IBBI, leading the insolvency and bankruptcy jurisdiction right from the front again. My respected Professor Rao, the Vice Chancellor of NLU, Dr. Vajpayee, Visham Garg, participants, the honorable judges of the moot court, my dear young friends. Let me start by saying that INSOL India venturing into a moot court with NLU and 3 other partners is actually a foundation stone laid by none else but my Lord Justice Kaul and Justice Sikri with Justice Manmohan Sareen. They showed us the path. At that time, of course, we didn't have an insolvency code, which came only in 2016. and we collaborated with NLU, and the outcome is that notwithstanding a pandemic where everything was shown to be going down the drain, we in fact brought double the participants into the moot court, and this time 16 teams have been selected to participate in the moot court competition. And the problem, as many of my predecessors have said, was a complex one in the sense we interwound not only corporate insolvency, but a insolvency regime to start from section 10 of the code, where a shareholder by derivative action can bring in. We also brought in a question of cross-border and thought maybe a group insolvency principle can be brought in. We also thought whether consolidation can take place in the Indian jurisdiction with respect to all affiliated companies or corporate and also, as we said, section 43 was brought in to see whether a preferential or fraudulent transaction taken place. I think each of the participants, sir, played a pivotal role, and I must confess before this August gathering, in fact, from the 2 days, I have learned a lot of IBC, which probably I would have probably not done, but from these youngsters who have given us more principles, more insights of this law, and taught us also with respect to how do we go forward in this legislation. It's a challenging experience, and I'm sure we assure all of you that in times to come, we shall strengthen this process. The friendship between five of us will grow stronger, and the center would be able to host next year's annual moot court competition of Insol India along with all of us at a greater height with a greater participation. And I'm sure many of the new things probably will come in. We are looking at every day Dr. Sao requesting the government to bring pre-packs into it. Many other amendments are forthcoming. In fact, this is the only legislation, which I keep saying, where every stakeholder has played his role, and the only legislation where right from Supreme Court till NCLT, the jurisdiction has been exercised in timely manner. We have done great to bring this jurisprudence of insolvency and bankruptcy at a very high speed. I congratulate all participants and especially the winners. We look forward for youngsters to future endeavors that we all take together, either individually or together, and see how do we capacity build our future. And one more important factor that I wanted to know, especially before in the presence of Justice Kaul, that apart from my skills as a lawyer, time has come when I have to adopt skills of resolution, which resolution is also the integral part of the IBC code. And I think we are moving towards it. And this is Professor Rao, in fact, before we started this function, said we must bring in to something to do. How do we bring those skills of negotiation and resolution also into the youngsters? Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Justice Kaul. Thank you, Mr. Sao. Thank you, Professor Rao, Dr. Garg, and Mr. Vajpayee, and the young students for participating and making this event to come through. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful insights. Now, I would like to invite the guest of honor, Dr. M.S. Sahu, Chairperson, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, to address the gathering.
Thank you, ma'am. Honorable Mr. Justice Kaul, Professor Krishna Deva Rao, Professor Vajpayee, Mr. Chandiok, judges of the moot competition, and my dear moot participants. I thank NLU Delhi and Professor Rao for partnering with IBBI to host this international insolvency moot and inviting me to this occasion. I also thank the participants for making this moot competition a great success. Traditionally, India has been a market economy. A market economy thrives on competition and innovation. In competition, efficient firms drive out inefficient ones. In innovation, new order drives out old order. These cause some kind of stress for firms. The stress, financial or economic, is an outcome of market forces, and market should therefore on its own resolve the stress. If not, it must be enabled by the state to do so. The stakeholders may sit across a table informally to work out a resolution that meets their unique requirements. However, such informal approach is not very popular, as the shareholders find it difficult to travel on an unguided path, and the outcomes generally do not enjoy sanctity and benefits of a formal framework. It is therefore the endeavor of the state to provide market with multiple options for resolution of stress. It is because if it is easier to resolve stress in an economy, it would encourage companies, domestic and overseas, to do business in this country. The country today has two court-supervised statutory options, namely the CIRP under the code and the Scheme of Compromise or Arrangement under the Companies Act 2013. And there is one out-of-court option, namely the RBI's Prudential Framework for Resolution of Stressed Assets. These frameworks provide a guided path, define the role of stakeholders involved therein, and confer also certain benefits. Of the formal frameworks, the CIRP is most comprehensive in terms of parties involved and scope and strategies for resolution of stress. It offers certain advantages and privileges, such as a moratorium during resolution period, binding nature of resolution plan, clean slate post-resolution, several regulatory benefits, etc., which are not available in case of other options. It has, however, certain difficulties, at least during the current times. It is not available in respect of COVID-19 defaults today, not available for defaults less than 1 crore. Today, the availability of resolution applicants, which is critical for success of CIRP, is a concern in the wake of COVID-19. This has two consequences. Either the company remains under stress for too long without any resolution, or the creditors use every means to recover their dues. In either case, the company may not be able to survive. This calls for a resolution mechanism that sidesteps the difficulties of the CIRP. Further, a formal framework like CIRP has a set process and therefore some amount of rigidities, while market prefers flexibility to work out a tailor-made resolution best suited to their circumstances. This necessitates a semi-formal or a hybrid option which has an element of informality but sanctity and advantages of a formal process. In a sense, the formal framework and informal framework are two ends of a spectrum, a variety of hybrid structures that blend elements from both types of resolutions are available internationally between these two ends to meet the convenience of the stakeholders. The most popular form of such a semi-formal option, as Mr. Sanjog mentioned, is pre-pack. The insolvency laws around the world provide a variant of pre-pack in addition to regular resolution process. Pre-pack has emerged as an innovative corporate rescue method that incorporates the virtues of both formal and informal insolvency proceedings. It seems to be the preferred hybrid framework, as it empowers stakeholders to resolve the stress of a company as a going concern with minimum assistance of state. It is considered fast, cost-efficient, and effective in resolution of stress with least business disruptions and least stigma associated with a formal insolvency proceeding. It starts with an informal understanding, engages stakeholders in between, ends with a judicial blessing of the outcome, though the nuances differ across the jurisdiction. Pre-pack has also its share of concerns such as serial pre-packing, that is, controlling parties by the company successively to avoid debt rather than rescue the company, and lack of transparency. Private negotiation and understanding among a set of stakeholders prior to commencement of formal process which contribute to the advantages of pre-pack is often a source of concern. Though this practice emanated from market, it became a market practice. Because of its concerns in course of time, it is also getting a little formalized and acquiring some amount of regulation to address the concerns. With considerable learning and maturity of the ecosystem in India and a reasonably fair debtor-creditor relationship essentially induced by the Section 29A of the Code, the ground seems ready to experiment pre-pack for resolution of stress, which I think is a natural step in evolution of insolvency regimes across the world. The market has been advocating and anticipating a pre-pack resolution framework for quite some time. In recognition of the need, the government started exploring the feasibility of implementing a pre-packaged bankruptcy scheme to aid the existing insolvency framework and cut cost and time of a resolution process. It had set up a committee, subcommittee of the Insolvency Law Committee, to recommend an India-centric pre-pack framework. The committee has designed one such framework within the basic structure of the code. The same has just been put out to public for comments. Hopefully, government will take a decision on this issue. With the likelihood of increase in insolvency as the suspension on initiation of a CRP expires, when formal frameworks have limitations, particularly at this time, coupled with the limited capacity of the adjudicating authority, given that some of the existing frameworks have an element of pre-pack already, and as I just mentioned, the ground is ready to experiment new things, the time seems opportune to introduce pre-pack in India, of course within the basic structure of the code and with appropriate checks and balances. It should be available side by CRP, so that CRP is used as the last resort for resolution of stress, and the liquidation becomes a matter of last resort again, as ruled by the Honorable Supreme Court in a very recent matter, Kridhan Infrastructure Private Limited versus Venkatesan Shankar Narayan and others. I hope the government takes a quick decision on the pre-pack and we find a pre-pack a reality soon. Thank you.
Thank you for providing us with such wonderful insights, sir. It is now my privilege to invite and welcome our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge of Supreme Court of India, to deliver the valedictory address.
Other participants and the mooters, other young friends. I'm happy to join you in this valedictory event. What I'm sure would have been 2 invigorating days of intellectual rigors, competition, and most importantly, fun and learning. Let me welcome also Professor Rao to the Delhi Institute after some time, after a long stint which had been of Dr. Ranbir Singh, and I'm sure he would carry on the good work done. Insol India and I go back quite some time in my professional times when this organization was set up by Justice Wadhwa, then the judge of the Supreme Court of India. And as a young lawyer, they deemed it appropriate to rope me in as the first treasurer, and thereafter I occupied various positions, including the president and Mr. Chandiok said. And it's a matter of a great satisfaction to me of the progress made by the organization, and it is in the good hands headed by Mr. Chandiok. The efforts which Insol India has made and the Center for Transition Commercial Law at NLU Delhi in organizing this 4th edition of the moot dealing with the insolvency and bankruptcy issue, and fostering an early interest in the activity as a specialized field of insolvency, which is not only an era of law with increasing importance in its own right, but also because it impacts a host of different sectors, forming crucial part of financial and economic infrastructure of the country. That the law is evolving is extremely important, more so in the possible impacts which may emerge from the epidemic scenario out of which we hopefully will come out this year. Most court competitions are an excellent opportunity for students, academics, and practitioners to constructively engage in some of the most exciting legal problems of the day. A few other spaces possibly offer such a vibrant platform where the wisdom and experience of practitioners and academics can interact with a fresh enthusiasm of young lawyers to facilitate the growth of knowledge. And as Mr. Chandiok mentioned in his address, even he found that there were aspects emerging from the young minds which would possibly of assistance to the practitioners of law in times to come. And most importantly, making a large section of the young to-be lawyers aware of this important field, something which had not occupied before. This is all the more exciting in the context of one of the most important legal developments in the recent years, which was the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code of 2016. It is still, despite a lot of development, in a nascent field in its jurisprudence. The code is a fertile ground for creative and innovative interpretations of the law that may bolster its positive impact on the economy and benefit industry at large. Competitions such as this moot court encourage students to engage with these interpretations on a level that goes beyond textbooks and forces them to apply their knowledge to the real world issues. In fact, for a long time to come, whenever we have had opportunities to go and participate in international conferences, especially of the Insol International, for decades this issue used to be posed to us that you keep saying that the code is going to come, but the code would somehow not come till I think finally, amongst other, Mr. Jaitley took the initiative and this important legislation and code was brought into force. So the IBC marked a complete overhaul of India's insolvency regime. It's essential consolidated a patchwork of laws relating to insolvency resolutions of companies, partnerships, and individuals. The code is thus young, but has been evolving immensely through amendments, through regulations, and judicial interpretations. And in the law field, the beauty of the law field is it is a life field. So we all keep learning and keep evolving. In the few years since its promulgation, the code has significantly reduced the time taken for winding up of the companies in India. A faster resolution of cases has spurred on the M&A deals in India, as bidders can more easily acquire stressed assets at lucrative prices, and a number of companies are closer to conclusion of their resolution processes. In fact, the criticism of the earlier processes was that it was a never-ending process, with the result that neither were the debtors getting what was due to them, nor were the companies in a reviving mode. India's rank in the ease of doing business index has gone up from 130 in 2016 to 100 in 2018 and finally 63 in 2020. And I think a due credit must be given to the IBC. The code will keep evolving and it shall be the endeavor of the legal fraternity to ensure that these changes benefit those who need them the most. So in the early years of implementation of the code, we are faced with complex questions that require authoritative and conclusive answers. The moot raises several of such questions that have not been resolved conclusively. So one of the issues raised concerns cross-border insolvency, including the issue concerning the position of foreign creditors and foreign insolvency proceedings vis-a-vis the insolvency and the bankruptcy regime in India. With the spurt in commercial technology, cross-border trade has become the norm and is no longer the preserve of only large multinational companies. The growth of economies worldwide has incentivized corporate entities to stretch their businesses beyond their home jurisdiction and across state boundaries. Due to this increasing globalization of business, they end up encountering several different legal systems. Hence, when such business becomes insolvent, it is not surprising that such insolvencies have cross-border implications. This may lead to several uncoordinated legal proceedings in different jurisdictions which are connected to the affairs of such an entity. And the one solution is some extent harmonize the insolvency laws of multiple jurisdictions. This is the role that the cross-border insolvency framework in India has to play. While two provisions have been inserted in the IBC to assist with the cross-border insolvency disputes, steps are yet to be taken to implement these provisions in a bid to facilitate the resolution of such disputes. Further, it has been pointed out that these provisions do not address the complex issues that arise out of such cases. In consideration of the Insolvency Law Committees submitted a report in October 2018 suggesting incorporation of the UNCITRAL model laws on cross-border insolvency 1997 with some modifications into the code. The model law provides for 4 elements to facilitate such cross-border insolvency proceedings, being access, recognition, assistance, and cooperation. However, action is yet to be taken on this report. At the moment, there is no effective legal framework, so to speak, for resolving the cross-border insolvency proceedings in India. Another topical issue taken up by the moot is that of insolvency proceedings relating to personal guarantors. After personal guarantors to corporate debtors were brought under the ambit of IBC in 2019, we saw a spate of proceedings being initiated against individuals before different high courts in the country. These proceedings were initiated to ensure the maximum recovery that could be made from the lenders along with the resolution of the debt companies. There was also a challenge posed to a new provision by promoters of the companies who are often the personal guarantors in the Indian scenario especially, claiming that the management board ran a company and thus the promoters alone should not be held responsible for default on the debt payments. The importance of these proceedings cannot be understated. So there is important legal issues that must be decided consistently and authoritatively in order to avoid any confusion in the interpretation of the court. All these cases were eventually transferred to the Supreme Court, where they are currently pending. We can all learn from determination and focus of the brilliant young advocates who are stated to have argued the complex issue with such passion. And I'm sure all judges have benefited from hearing their innovative arguments and insights. I congratulate INSOL India and the Center for Transnational Commercial Law at NLU Delhi for organizing this moot court competition that explores these issues and throws challenges to the young, bright minds of today who may suggest a way to resolve them. And including the judiciary, these thought processes are always valuable. I also extend my heartiest congratulations to the students that made it this far into the competition and to all those who participated and took the challenge. Thank you and a very good evening.
Thank you for your kind words, sir. Moving on to the much-awaited segment of the valedictory ceremony, the prize distribution. First, I would like to invite Dr. Risham Garg to announce the prizes for Honorable Mention and Best Newcomer Performance.
Right. So, best newcomer performance. I think there is no guesses. Best newcomer performance is National University of Singapore. Team members Brian Chia, Vijay Raj, and Zan Xiangyun. Congratulations to the National University of Singapore. Now, next, honorable mention. So, this is a competition. There are several teams and we have a limited number of prizes, but certainly some teams do make their mark and we want to also provide some sort of a recognition. So there is a section of honorable mention. We want to give the honorable mention to the Maharashtra National Law University Nagpur team members Kirti Tapadia, Kanchan Daswani, and Amisha Kamane. So, as you can see, the signatures are not there, but signatures will be written and the certificates posted to you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Dr. G.S. Bajpai to declare the winners of the best memorandum.
Sir, you are on mute.
Thank you. So I need to have the information actually. Have you shared this information with me?
Sorry, sir. Actually, I sent it on your mobile. So
No, that's not.
it is instantaneous.
Okay, my God.
So most information is sent on the mobile of everybody.
Just a minute. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at my mobile. So this is my pleasure to announce the prize of the third memoranda. First, that is the Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai, consisting of the team members Devashri, Pranjal, and Mr. Parth Sharma.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I invite Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Deva Rao to announce the best oralists in the preliminary rounds.
Yeah, best oralist in preliminary rounds, Priyanshi Vakaria, Government Law College, Mumbai, and Vijayaraj, National University of Singapore.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Dr. M.S. Sahu to announce the best oralist in the final round of this competition.
Best oralist in finals is Mr. Vishnu Mangal Bedkar from Christ, India.
Thank you, sir. Finally, I invite Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul to declare the winners and the runner-ups of the 4th edition of International Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Competition.
Well, I'm informed that the School of Law, Christchurch, Bangalore are the winners. And consequentially, the other participating team is so it's congratulations to both of them and to all of you.
Congratulations to both the teams, winning team, runners-up.
Thank you so much, sir. I now invite Professor Dr. G.S. Bajpai, Registrar of National Law University, Delhi, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge, Supreme Court of India, Dr. M.S. Sahu, the Chairperson, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, Mr. A.S. Chandok, Senior Advocate, Ms. Pooja Mahajan, Managing Director at Chandok and Mahajan, Mr. Dhananjay Kumar, Partner Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, for joining as judges, Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Sri Krishna Deva Rao, and Dr. Rishamgar. At the outset, very good evening to all, and my congratulations to all the winning teams and runner-ups and all those who have participated in this 4th edition of the International Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Court competition held today. As we conclude the 4th edition of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Court competition, I would like to thank all the institutions who have joined us virtually from around the globe to be a part of this event. On behalf of the National Law University Delhi, I would like to extend our gratitude towards all the judges who have taken out time from their busy schedules to support these students through this competition, even in these unprecedented times that we find ourselves in. I must especially thank Honorable Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, for gracing the occasion and delivering the valedictory address. My thanks to Dr. M.S. Sahu, the chairperson of Insolvency Board, and of course, Mr. A.S. Chandok, a senior advocate, and Mr. Dhananjay Kumar, partner, for joining as judges for the final round. Your presence has been a moral boosting for the finalists, and I'm sure that they would take fond memories of pleading in front of a bench of such a remarkable caliber. I would also like to thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Sri Krishna Deva Rao, for his consistent support to this event. I express my gratitude to IBBI and Ancestral RCAP for supporting the event, CP as knowledge partner, and to Insol India for their generous collaboration to the moot. The Center for Transnational Commercial Laws at NLU Delhi has been organizing the moot court competition since 2017. This is the fourth edition, which has been concluded today for the first time on a virtual platform. I would like to extend my appreciation to the faculty coordinator, especially Dr. Risham Garg, who is the central figure in this event for this important function today, and of course to Ms. Aditi Khanna and a lot of the students who have supported the organizing of this important event today in a very smooth manner, despite all the hardships that we have faced because of the fact that this is being organized online. Of course, I'm also, congratulating all the winners team and especially the participating teams for their, best of luck to all of them. And I'm sure that all of you will take back fond memories from this competition, and we will soon have an offline edition of the moot court very soon. Until then, stay safe, and thank you once again. I wish you all the best for the challenges that lie ahead. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, sir. The best oralist awarded, Vishnu, would like to speak a few words now.
Yes, I hope I'm audible. We had a great experience as a team altogether. First and foremost, it was definitely challenging for us to stay at different parts of the country and coordinating with each other for the rounds. Apart from this, we'd love to thank the organizing committee. Pretty sure it won't be easy to organize an event of such magnitude in a short period of time like this and during the pandemic. And we really appreciate the quality of judges a lot, because the types of questions they were asking us when we were in fact arguing made us evolve as speakers. It made us go back, research before the next rounds actually begin, and evolve our arguments. This was really beneficial as a whole to us. And I'd also like to thank all our competitors. The competition since our very first round was of high quality. So I would like to thank all our competitors too. In fact, we did take a few ideas from our competitors as well when we went on from each round to another. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu. With all of these kind words and wishes, we come to the end of the fourth edition of International Insolvency and Bankruptcy Moot Competition. Multi-stakeholders engagement of academicians, insolvency professionals, students, and our partners is certainly the reason for the success of our competition. I would like to thank Mr. Arif from Igloo Labs, who offered support with the virtual platform live webinar. Moreover, Ms. Aditi Khanna, who has been coordinating on behalf of Insol India, and Aditya Anand, Anmol Dhawan, and Anuj Bhave, the student coordinators from NLU Delhi, along with their entire organizing team, has been instrumental in the success of this competition. Finally, we thank all our partners and participants for making this competition possible and successful even during these difficult times. This event would not have been possible without the support of all of you. We hope that it was an enriching experience for one and all. Thank you for attending this valedictory function.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot. Thank you, my lord. Thank you, the Vice Chancellor. Thank you, Dr.
You're
Shao.
the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Dr. Ishamgar. Congrats, Vishnu.
Congratulations to the winning team.
Thank you. Yes, yes. And thank to Rashid for for anchoring this valedictory function.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We look forward to meet you, sir, soon. The Honorable
Yes,
Vice
sir.
Chancellor. Look forward to
Sure, sir.
look forward to have your guidance, sir.
Yes, sir.
And our
We would like to
foundation
have your
remains Dr. Ishamgar.
Yes, sir. We would like to have your feedback on our course, and let's plan that open online course, sir, in future.
We'll do that, sir. We'll do that, sir. We'll do that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Risham. Bye, Nimran.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye, bye.
So, I think judges'
Yes, good.
feedback.
Hmm.
Pooja, Miss Pooja Mahajan, and if
Nimra, Pooja.
okay, so let us see.
I wish you congratulations. Yeah, you are
Thank
in
you,
which
sir.
year? You are just
So
starting.
I'm in my fourth year right now. I'm in my fourth
You are
year.
in the fourth year.
Yes.
Oh, good. Congrats. You
Thank you, sir.
should
Thank
write an article. Just convert your team, all of you. I know you have done a lot of research into this.
Huh.
Convert this into an article
Hello.
and publish. That would be the best one.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
All the best.
Thank you.
Keep in touch. Keep in
Thank
touch.
you.
Bye.
Yes, thank you. So will we have the feedback session or?
I think Miss Pooja Mahajan was here, but I'm not sure. They may have. I think they are not yet here.
Okay.
But I'm sure you will have their email IDs. You can just send them email, and they can send you their feedback.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot. Then we wouldn't
Yeah,
want to
I mean,
disturb.
it's great. It was a treat listening to all of you, and despite all that network issues, you did manage. And I listened to the discussion among the judges when they were, awarding the winners. So, despite the technical issues, you still maintained your composure. And these are some issues which are cropping up in the courts as well. As far as the legal issues are concerned, you are aware that some of these are still going on. Decision has yet to be a final decision, or the settled position is still yet to arrive. Yes, and there is any n number of ways in which you may articulate your propositions. So this is a as Honorable Justice Kaul has mentioned, this is evolving law, and you have, through your innovative arguments, this is what we require actually in the moot competition. So best wishes to you, and thanks for all your, hard work to make this competition into a